she gets vilified by people because she represents a faith practice that a lot of marginalized people go to. And a lot of the people in the cartels are marginalized people. Where the holy death comes from.
Yeah. What does it say on the back, by the way? This is like, it's all in Spanish. It says Ración a la Santa Muerte del Trabajo.
Yeah, the holy death of work. So people think that the holy death is like its independent thing. The holy death comes from people praying for a good death. And actually, one of the places where that actually originated was a mining town in Zacatecas, where people would go into mine shafts and they didn't know if they were going to come out, and they prayed for a holy death. Somewhere in the mixture of that, it turned into praying to the holy death. So that's where it comes from. Again, it's Catholic. It was venerated inside of a Catholic church in Zacatecas for 200, 300 years. Somewhere in the 2006 era, a bishop came to the town, saw the statue and said, this doesn't need to be in here, and kicked it out. And it led to it being a forbidden saint. And if you want to make something popular in Mexico, you make it forbidden. And
that's
it is
nature. Yeah.
And currently it is one of the most popular faith practices, not only in Mexico, but here in the United States.
Right. Now, there is also, I don't think I talked with you about this last time, but I've talked with Sheriff Matt Thomas about it. I think I talked with Dave Frank about it as well, because they've seen it. But there's also this very weird, culture within the cartels where they bastardize religion, basically Catholicism, into the occult.
Yeah. So a few things there, which I'm glad you brought this up, because I am way into all of that.
Oh yeah.
For no other reason than I will repeat this. I don't believe that there's a skeleton in the sky doing me favors like a genie, right? Which is the belief that a lot of people in that realm have. I know personally the lady that keeps the giant holy death altar in Mexico City, Doña Queta. Amazing lady, Catholic, very Catholic. But she has this death statue that a lot of people show up there and give candles to. She is a community leader. She pays for a lot of operations and people just lives getting better in the area. She's a community leader. She's an amazing woman. She gets vilified by people because she represents a faith practice that a lot of marginalized people go to. And a lot of the people in the cartels are marginalized people. So that's not justifying what they do. That's just realizing why they gravitate towards a forbidden saint.
Sure.
Most of the people that I've met and most of the high-level cartel members that I've seen, El Mencho, Catholic. Los Chapitos, Catholic. Most of the other high-level cartel guys out there, very Christian. So the marginalized occult stuff like that you see are on the bottom side of that scale. But most of the leadership that I've seen are not praying to weird death deities or demonic entities. They're Christian. One of the things that El Mencho left behind was a whole book of prayers that he would write. He was very Catholic. So he doesn't fit that.
How can he really be Catholic, though? You know what I mean? Cognitive dissonance to an extent that I can't even comprehend in a human mind.
But he had a small altar to Malverde, not Malverde, to St. Jude in his little space.
St. Jude, like the saint of
San
helping
Judas.
sick kids?
San Judas, yeah, St. Jude. In Mexico, St. Jude is the last saint you pray to because you might get Judas in there. That's why that's the last, basically a patron saint of lost causes.
Yeah, now that's interesting. The symbolism there.
Yeah.
So he had a saint who's, as you said, patron saint of lost causes, but is known very much with pediatric serious sicknesses.
He was sick. A little bit.
He was sick, but hold on a minute. I'm just playing with this live. I never heard this before.
Yeah.
His life went the wrong way. He became a violent man, was responsible for killing a lot of people, moving a lot of drugs, doing a lot of things that affects all populations, including kids. But for the sake of argument, let's say it's an adult's game.
Yep.
Okay? But in his Catholicism and in his private life and in an altar that he would make for himself where he would go try to, I guess, make right for whatever sins he then would continue to do in his life. The symbolism he chose was a saint that represented kids who are supposed to be pure and young and, you know, have hope for a better life.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. I need actually someone who's actually a psychologist to look at that, but there's a lot going on there.
In Mexico, San Judas is the last saint you pray to because you might get Judas in your prayers. So like that's why they avoid him. And in some of the more underground cultural things, there's actually a belief that depending on which side hand he's holding his staff, it could be Judas, like Judas Iscariot, or it could be Saint Judas. So it's a whole thing. He's one of the most popular saints in Mexico and one of the most popular saints amongst cartel members. So I understand how sensational and attention grabbing it is when you see holy death prayed to by the cartels. The leadership are usually Catholic.
Right.
So it's
it's interesting. The under guys,
the marginalized people who are poor, desperate, who probably got some issues with the church.
They pray the devil a cold, if you will.
They will look for intermediaries. One of the biggest growing faith practices in Mexico, holy death is one of them. And when I say holy death, the people praying to death like a genie that will grant them protection when they go into like dangerous shit is one side of it. But the vast majority of it are just like Catholic ladies and women and people who just view it as like, oh, culturally, I learned this through my parents. And I have death present, and it is something that I find comfort in, that I don't have to worry about anything because, hey, I have a relationship with death. What am I worried about? Dying? It's fine, right? So you see an aspect of that, but also you see the dark aspect. There is a fucking dark aspect to some of these practices. There's 3 places where some of these come from. Number one of the first signs of this narco-occultism that we saw in Mexico was through a guy they called El Narco-Satánico, the narco-satanic guy. Constanzo was his last name. Can't remember his whole name right now. But he was basically somebody that brought Afro-Caribbean faith practices with him. That guy. Cool hair, by the way.
Great hair.
I'm trying to figure that cut out, I guess. With the mullet.
It's like that 80s thing going on. 80s, 90s thing. Yeah.
He got cut up because he ordered his cult to abduct a kid from Texas who was on spring break or something like that. And he needed his brain to feed his prenda.
His brain?
His brain. So a prenda is something within the Palo faith practices that come from Afro-Caribbean faith practices in Africa, basically. They believe that you can house a spirit or a spirit of the dead within these cauldrons that they have. And if you feed it, it will grant you things. This is a faith practice that was brought into Mexico probably somewhere in the 50s and 60s, and it has been growing like underground for years. You hear a lot about Santa Muerte. It's very in the public. It's out there. People venerate with statues and they do these processions. It's not a cult thing. It's not a cult. It's open in the open.
Yeah.
This Palo stuff and this some Afro-Caribbean blood and sacrifice thing is underground. A lot of celebrities in Mexico have ties to it. It does believe in, and again, I'm just speaking about what's been going on out there. There have been a lot of people in the celebrity world in Mexico who have been revealed to be practitioners of this and have been tied to blood sacrifices and human sacrifice shit. A lot of these cauldrons that you find out there have bones inside of them. And human bones. And you might get them from a cemetery or from a grave robber, but some people get them from their enemies. When you talk about some of the occult or darker stuff out there, I think that's what most Americans are kind of talking about. You see the Santa Muerte stuff, it's iconography. It is out there. Yeah, there's some dark stuff around there, but some of the Afro-Caribbean stuff, the Santeria, the Palo stuff, that's what the cartel guys are believing in. Not that. That's That's low level.
Right.
That's
They're
like
going,
a old mother's like
yeah, dark stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Things that you feed with blood, things that you feed with violence, things that are there to give you money. And again, when you talk about these things, you start seeing that a lot of the word demonic comes
Yes,
up right now.
absolutely.
Although in their cosmovision, they see every entity as something essential.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.